flat Tibet, and when I reached India, the seventh it's been a time of both sadness and mixed feeling of sadness and happiness. So of course we have no idea what would happen in the next 50 to 60 years, 40 or 50 years. But today we are celebrating 60 years in exile, and we could see what will happen to us in the future to a certain extent. So the previous speakers already spoke, and I usually say that Tibetans and the Indians are students. The relationships between a student and teacher. We, the Tibetans, call India the land of the noble ones. So no other country is referred by such a term by Tibetans. So India is looked upon as a land of reverence and respect and admiration. And so there is a very strong bond between the Tibet and India. So in Tibet, we have the culture in literature, in the form of literature written by Indian masters of Nalanda, particularly since the time of Chandrakshita and Kamalashila, under whose guidance the Tibetans translated the Buddhist literature into Tibetan. And today we have over 100 volumes of their translated words of the Buddha and over 220 volumes of the Indian masters' exegesis. And so these were translated into Tibetan over a long period of time. And so we usually talk about the 5 major and 5 minor sciences. And I find that amongst the 5 major sciences, we have the area of logic and epistemology, which is very important. So in order to improve our intelligence and wisdom, we need, not mere faith can do that, but we should be skeptical and examine the things through logical procedure. The Buddha himself has said, scholars, monks and scholars, just as gold is tested by rubbing, cutting and burning, likewise you should check my teaching and then accept it, not because you have respect for me. And then the Nalanda masters have also followed this instruction of the Buddha and said there are certain teachings of the Buddha himself cannot be taken literally. So such approach to the teaching of the founder is not found in any other tradition of religious traditions. So this is unique to Nalanda Buddhist tradition. So therefore, logic and epistemology is very important. So of course, in Tibetan, we have the translations of the writings of Dignaga and Dharmakirti, which are in terms of logic and epistemology, and also the Tatuv Samgraha, the Compendium of Reality by Chandrakshita. Of course, these were written by Buddhist masters, but then the subject matter covered in these texts are something that is necessary for the whole entire humanity. And today, we are in a world where scientific investigation is prevalent, and when something is found scientifically true, then it is something that people believe in. And so, similarly, in the case of Buddhism, we use reason and logic to come to a conclusion about a truth, and then believe and accept it. So whether you are a Buddhist or not, whether you are a believer or not, the logic and epistemology as well as psychology is something that we need. And many of the problems in the world are our own human creation. So the basic nature of human beings, some scientists say, is compassionate. So then why do we create lots of problems if that is the case? So because of a whole lot of hopes and fears in us, we create lots of problems amongst ourselves. So if we understand the workings of our mind, what causes our disturbance in mind, what are the causes, and how are we cause problems in our minds, we do not need to talk about religion or the nirvana and so forth, but just in this life, how we can live a peaceful life. The place where you live, to become everyone living around you as your friends. So, therefore, the Nalanda Master's writings about psychology today is what we found in their writings is very practical and relevant and beneficial. We're not talking about propagating Buddhism as such. Of course, these spread in India in the past, but they have declined over the years and centuries. So today, what we can do is extract these knowledge about psychology and epistemology and logic from the literature that we have. Of course, Buddhist literature, but then the subject matter themselves are not necessarily Buddhist as such. We can use them as secular academic subjects. So as a result of the support and the kindness of our Indian host, the government and the people of India, now what we can see is that we can make some contribution from the literature that we have received in Tibetan, that were translated into our language. So people who are trained in logic and epistemology are quite hard-headed sometimes, could be, and we do not accept things easily. But when we meet with scientists, so the scientists do not easily say yes to things, but they make examination of things. And so similarly in our case, those people who are trained in logic do not accept things easily. So we are able to sit together with such scientists. So as human beings, we have a special brain, and therefore, in order to develop it further, this intelligence that we have, we need logic and epistemology, and also psychology. So since we came into exile, so we are, as refugees and exiles, we should not think only of preserving our own culture and making our own living as such, but we could actually see in the last 60 years we have seen a blessing in disguise, that now we could actually contribute to the world at large from our own cultural tradition, this logic and epistemology as well as psychology. So as refugees, we have to be practical and realistic. We cannot live like we used to in the past. So from a Dharma point of view, to use a Dharmic language, we can say this unfortunate circumstance could be transformed into the path of enlightenment. So, of course, although we live in exile for the last 60 years, we have been in exile, we have never wasted our time. And those inside Tibet also have kept up with a very strong spirit. And the Uzang central part of Tibet was known as the land of holy Dharma. And then the Amdo was known as the land of horses. So in the past, Tibetan kings like Songtsen Gampo, Teshung Detsen and Tirempa, in those times, 7th, 8th and 9th centuries, Tibet was an independent country. So today, after coming into exile, we should feel proud that we have also revived that spirit of unification amongst Tibetans. So wherever we live around the world, Tibetans have really paid attention to our own culture and language. So far, in the last 60 years, we have the most number of Tibetans in exile living in India. We have done our best, but we should not still be satisfied with what we have achieved. We should not be complacent and not kill our days, but we need to pay more attention. When we are successful, let others praise us, but our responsibility is to find the loopholes and where we are lacking, what we are lacking, and to make them up. So this is our responsibility. Others will see the good things that we do, and let others praise, like the speakers today did. We need to see where we are making mistakes. Of course, we are doing our best. I would like to urge to further. So someone's just making remarks on the picture of himself in front. And looks like he says, I look like an Indian teacher. So I'd like to thank everyone who spoke, all the Indian dignitaries. So they talked from their hearts. So I'd like to thank them.
General going to Machola, Gatin Lameduche, Shubadaje, Zerim Nisani Batolaya, Pegi, Deogatsowane, Chusum Mirik, Shebetapshe, Sibushugu.
Artist of Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts will perform a Tibetan cultural dance, Chusum Mirik.
Parki, Uzan Choniyo, Nichin Kansa Cheneyo.
Much Tonio, they say Nama Piwayo.
A to come, Choneyoya. A Kawa Garbo Janeyoy.
Yeah, Dicho, that's Toneo, Chamdo, Josh Piwayo.
Amici, and the Chone, Amin, Mashi Janet.
Tony and Macho Toneo, Tonan, Kasha Piwayo.
Dijela ya zerim yisaksun betola. Tuji cheshu kodik chochung ke choshun. Chita chungje tsenyam shaling tenzi da joinlane tuji cheshu songshe nangyo.
Thank you, India Organizing Committee Vice Chair and Information Secretary of Department of Information and International Relations, Dharamsala will convey the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. 60 years ago, on this day, March 31, 1959, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the global icon of peace, a beacon of hope for millions around the world, the great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, stepped on the sacred soil of India. This remains as the most powerful story of the 20th century, and the 21st century stands to benefit out of it. His escape was followed by tens of thousands of Tibetans who had known no home but their own. Rehabilitation of Tibetan refugees in India was what was seen as an unsurmountable challenge, is today called the miracle of the 20th century. Friends, it is said that where there is no vision, there the people perish. What we have achieved so far, what we are seeing right now, is thanks to the visionary leadership of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the generosity of the government and people of India, the great land of India that has not only provided us with steadfast support, but have provided us the conviction and the courage to persevere no matter what may happen. Friends, it truly is an honor for me to convey the vote of thanks and to thank everyone who has been involved in making today's event a huge success. Your Holiness, thank you very much. We all owe a debt of gratitude to you for being the light and the life. To the government and people of India, thank you for being our anchor, anchoring us to safety as we steer through the storm that never refuses to abate. I'd like to thank all the Indian dignitaries, Honorable Minister Mahesh Sharma ji, Ram Madhav ji, Shanta Kumar ji, Chaturvedi ji, Kishan Kapoor ji, Krimi ji, and Naren Das ji for blessing us with your presence and for your wonderful messages of support that only stands to reinforce our faith in the goodness and magnanimity of the Indian leadership. I thank the President of Central Tibetan Administration, Dr. Lobsang Sangye, for his incredibly powerful remark. I thank the Speaker of Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Khenpo Sonam Temple, for his words of wisdom. I thank the artists of the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts and singer Pasan Dolma for the enthralling performances, and in particular for A Hind Tujhko Salam and Thank You India song, which is a delightful musical tribute to the government and people of India. Today's event and the successful unfolding of this event is thanks to the able leadership of Central Tibetan Administration and to the collective efforts of the staff of CTA, in particular that of Department of Information and International Relations, who put this all together. Finally, March 31, 2018, the Thank You India event will be etched in the history of India and Tibet as we remember our ancient ties and strengthen our current bonds for a brighter, better, and a stronger tomorrow. Thank you all very much and have a good day. Thank you.
Dijela pege doga sogone shena kasum tutu cheche tapde shugure tongma de la ya towa tenzi wese la ge toshe gyansin ri sheba bilam shugyo.
We will now have cultural performances by artists from Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. Artist Tenzing Wasser will sing Toshe Genzeri.
Sonia la 数。
디젤라야 모티네 벽이 되어 속에 저와 주만 남네 낭만 잘라 시바 시바 시구슈규
Artist of Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts will perform Nangma Talashipa.
Thank
Tanda yawm je cho ta kunjo namba chipgyu drobe jela ya meman hamba kulelo shuro na shugo yin dig jela jego mote ne ye.
I request everyone to remain seated. We will continue with the entertainment programs organized by the Tibetan Settlement Office.
Cham